Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. This is Knicks podcast. Make sure this audio and stuff is good for you guys. But anyway, we're gonna be talking about Scott Perry. He's a made man, man. Leon Rose made him a made man, and this is what we're doing here, talking about Scott Perry. Knicks podcast. Let's get right into it. Yeah, guys, we are here. What's up? This is your boy Eru. Um, Sounds a little different today, man, because I was trying to accommodate Mr. State whenever he comes on the show. So I hope you guys can hear me pretty good here. Anyway, we're gonna be talking about Scott Perry. One thing that I just found here that I'm gonna get into, what he's actually talked about his family. So before we get into like all the other stuff, man, let me just read this article that I found here. It's actually from NBA.com, and this is on my phone. I got other stuff queued up, but I don't feel like putting it up on the screen right now. It's kind of problematic. But anyway, he said he would not be sitting here without his family. So he introduced the family to the press conference. This is in 2017 when he became the Knicks GM. He wanted to thank his wife and his daughter Chelsea. He's been in the game at the time for 2017, 31 years, and he's with his wife for 30 years. Excuse me, it was the opposite. 31 years with his wife and 30 years as a professional. So his wife has been there since before he became started making money with this stuff. So there's a beautiful connection there, man. So I love to hear that. His daughter is also 22 years old at the time, 2017. So basically, her whole life, was that of a basketball daughter. You know what I'm saying? So it's a nice little story, man. So we'll get into the whole thing. Reason why I said that first because I just like to talk about family. Family is the most important thing for me, and then I like to make that connection, man. So it's good. It's good that he does have that foundation. Only has the one daughter, and to be married to one person for 31 years is amazing, man. So that paints the picture for Scott Perry. But let's just get into his whole story here because here's the thing. Especially my guy State. My guy State does not like Scott Perry, even though me and him talk about Scott Perry so much, and we have so many different conversations and stuff, right? But he always comes back to like Scott Perry sucks, man. But then he like praises a lot of the moves that Scott did. But State's not here, so it's just me here today. So like I said, let's just get into just his whole career. We're gonna start no other than Wikipedia. So just pull up Wikipedia just to get a brief thing about his life here. Um, right here. This is he was born in '63. He's 57 years old. Detroit, Michigan. He went to Jesuit school, University of Detroit Jesuit for high school. He went to Oregon, Wayne State. His coaching career actually also was from '93 to 2000. So he has a lot of history with just basketball in general. Detroit guy. Detroit guys are usually tough. You can hear the way that he talks. That rebel or whatever. That's all like PTSD from Detroit, man. Most guys from Detroit from that era, 57 years old and about to like 40 something, they all kind of like have that same kind of thing about them. Just like you could tell somebody from Brownsville, New York. If they're from Brownsville, you just know they're from Brownsville. So anyway, as you can see on the screen here, like I said, I already mentioned that he started and that he was 57 years old and he was born in '63. Um, Talk about his executive career. Well, his coaching career actually. Let's do that. In '88, he actually started his coaching career at the University of Detroit Mercy. He spent 5 seasons there. He went on to become an assistant coach at the University of Michigan, and he was instrumental in getting them to be into the Elite Eight in 1994. What else is going on here? Uh, he had a really good recruiting classes in '94 and '95. His final year, they actually won the NIT championship. He completed his coaching career as the head coach of Eastern Kentucky University. So these are all actually schools that ring bells. Kentucky University, it's gonna be Eastern Kentucky University, Michigan, Detroit Mercy. These are all big name schools, and then a lot of people didn't really hear about him until the Knicks signed him. So we'll get into that too, man. So we got executive career. He actually goes back as far as 2000, man. So Perry was hired as a front office executive by Detroit Pistons Joe Dumars. Joe Dumars couldn't do no wrong in the beginning, man, because of that championship. They actually was able to get that championship in 2004. he was there the whole time as the what is it, the assistant GM. Well, to the front office as a member of the executive team. He was instrumental in helping build those rosters or whatever with the championship. He went on to serve as an assistant general manager for the Seattle Supersonics for one season. He was part of the staff that drafted Kevin Durant to the Sonics. Um, what else? Then he returned to the Pistons to become the vice president of operations there from 2008 to 2012. So between 2008 and 2012, that wasn't really like one of the better times in Detroit, because that they had just won the championship and they didn't really do much after that. They made it to the finals a couple years after, but during 2008 and 2012, I don't think that those guys really did much during that time. So he was eventually hired by the Orlando Magic to be the general manager to be by the general manager to be the vice president and assistant general manager. What else? He was an ESPN basketball analyst with former NBA player Chauncey Billups. So Chauncey Billups, won the championships with him in Detroit. So you can connect those dots there. Of course, he's going to talk good about him. That's the thing with basketball, the whole fraternity of it, they're never going to talk bad about him. And so when you hear guys talking, say they're not going to talk badly about Carmelo Anthony, or they're not going to talk badly about other players too, but they just won't do that. The only person that I've seen people talk badly about is Phil Jackson, because I think they just hate Phil Jackson. But that's not segue from what I'm talking about here. But Chauncey Billups, of course, is going to talk highly of him. He went on to become the assistant manager of Orlando Magic, and he was instrumental in bringing in Victor Oladipo, Aaron Gordon, Elfrid Payton, of course, Mario Hezonja. So those four names jump out at me because he was able to get Elfrid Payton back. He drafted Elfrid Payton in 2014. Elfrid Payton was a high draft pick, and he also averaged 6 assists throughout his career, double figures in points. Maybe he's at the end of his career now with the Knicks. Maybe he's hurt or whatever's going on. But Elfrid Payton actually was a decent player when he first came into the NBA, and he actually had a decent career in Orlando and in everywhere else that he went to. Just not last year with the Knicks, Mario Hezonja is another guy that he went out and got. That's a guy that he drafted in 2015, and in 2017 when he got to the Knicks, Mario Hezonja was one of the first guys that he went to go after. And I'm also Elfrid Payton, man, so that stands out too. Two names here: Victor Oladipo and Aaron Gordon. Are these future Knicks? Victor Oladipo is actually a free agent. He just has so many injuries his last few years. So you wonder if maybe he might come to the Knicks to try to help out his boy. From that drafted him, because Chauncey Billups vouched for him. Like I said, all these guys are going to vouch for each other. But Chauncey Billups has a lot of respect in the NBA, so he vouched for Scott Perry. So will Victor Oladipo come to the Knicks? On a discount, hopefully, because of all those injuries, or maybe the Knicks might give him a little bit extra bread just to entice him to come over here for maybe like a year, a 1-and-1 contract. Aaron Gordon, I think he just signed like a big deal, but he's in Denver, so I'm not sure if that situation over there is gonna work out. Even though they did play okay in last year, but it wasn't enough to get them over the hump. They actually played a little bit worse than the year before. So, that's interesting, man. So just keep those names in mind, Victor Oladipo and Aaron Gordon, as far as guys that Scott Perry, those are products of Scott Perry. He was hired as the Sacramento Kings vice president. So anyway, they don't mention anything about that. But everybody that was drafted over there in Sacramento, it has to do with Scott Perry. He was only hired as the vice president of basketball operations, but they credit him for being instrumental in bringing all those young guys that they have over there. Talking about Aaron, De'Aaron Fox and some of the other guys that they have over there. Basically every young person, and basically anything significant over there. They were on the way up before Scott Perry made the decision to come over to to the Knicks. So anyway, like I said, that it was only from April to the 21st in 2017 to July. So that means he took care of Sacramento's draft, so he set them up. So if he would have stayed there, maybe he would have got them back to the playoffs. Who knows, man? Because from 2017 to now, you can credit Scott Perry as setting the foundation to getting us to where we are right now, which is being a playoff team. It took 4 years, but he also has somebody else here, that we'll talk about in a second. The Knicks actually got the Knicks gave the Kings a second round draft pick and cash considerations. with the Kings hiring Brandon Williams as his replacement. So anyway, the Knicks had to give up a draft pick and money to get Scott Perry over here, and that probably was the best deal that Steve Mills did, and that's the guy that I'm going to talk about here, Steve Mills. Steve Mills. Before we really start getting into Scott Perry, we got to talk about Steve Mills because on Basketball Reference, they didn't put these moves that the Knicks did in his chart. I'll put it up so you guys can see. They only use up until the point where he became the GM. So they didn't actually credit him for the stuff that Steve Mills credited him for. So I don't know if you guys can see. They only have it there from 2004, 2020 to March 2002. I mean, excuse me, March 2nd, 2020. So they only have that one deal from February 6th. It was that three team trade that got they traded Marcus Morris to the Clippers. So that big old trade there, you guys can see it there. Um, the words are small there, but it was like a 3-team trade, a lot of stuff, moving parts and stuff. A couple second round picks. That's how we got the second round pick from Detroit. And that's how we got Marcus Morris. We traded him. And got a first round pick from from the Clippers, and that became Emmanuel quickly. So that's all interesting. But that's the only thing that they show from February 6th, 2020. But let's get out of this and let's show Steve Mills' track record. So I mean, I'm gonna do a quick scroll for Steve Mills' track record. Just because I don't feel like being aggravated, because that's a whole nother podcast in itself. A lot of you have actually asked me to do it because I did a Scott Perry one, man. So Steve Mills is only right, man. But I'll do a quick skim through there. You can see a lot of bullshit here, a lot of crazy stuff. But let's only talk about what's important here. So July 14th, 2017. So this is when he picked up Scott Perry. So he traded cash and 2019 second round pick, and he was able to get what's the name, Brad Zekas for that to Sacramento Kings for Scott Perry. So that was the deal for Scott Perry. We actually got that second round pick. No, we sent it. Excuse me. Let's read this again. Traded cash and a 2019 second round pick to the Sacramento Kings for Scott Perry. So that pick later became Brad Zekas. So we actually, we actually was able to keep Brad Zekas, even though we traded that pick over. It's weird, man. So I really don't know what the thing. And this is not the Ignis Brad Zekas podcast. So just go down the line here. Ron Baker, I don't think had anything to do with Scott Perry. That's definitely Steve Mills all the way. Damian Dotson, this is Scott Perry definitely. Michael Beasley, Ramon Sessions. Ramon Sessions was a guy that was in Orlando that Scott Perry finally brought in because they were trying to get Ramon Sessions on the Knicks forever, but he was able to get here due to Scott Perry. Michael Beasley is another one. I don't know the connection with that. A couple of other guys here. Xavier Rathan Mays. He actually is playing really good on the internet. Playing the pickup ball. That you see all over Instagram and stuff like that. He's actually a good player. He started that player actually started the whole G League thing with the Knicks G League team playing really well. So shout out to XRM because he's definitely a big part of that. Scott Perry brought him here. Jack was here to be a stepping stone for Frank Ntilikina. We all see how that turned out, but at least he tried. They traded Carmelo Anthony to OKC. Hindsight, it's 2020. That was a decent trade because that second round pick ended up being Mitchell Robinson. Doug McDermott and his Cantor, those are two decent players that we got for Carmelo. Ennis Cantor is a starting center in the NBA. He just can't play defense. Doug McDermott actually made himself probably going to make himself a lot of money this offseason, with his stint with Indiana. But at least Scott Perry had the frame of mind to get Doug McDermott here to try to see if he had anything for us. Trey Burke is another guy that was brought here that's still connected to Scott Perry through all the different avenues in the NBA, whatever. So it was a nice pickup because Trey Burke had the upside still. He was a high draft pick as well. He could have been a starter. I really don't know what was up with that. I don't know if that had to do with the front office trying to make the behind the scenes. Maybe Dolan got involved or maybe Steve Mills is a dick or whatever. they didn't really do Trey Burke justice there, because he actually was playing pretty good. Isaiah Hicks, they invested a lot of time in him with a 2-way contract. I think he had like 2 of them joints. They were able to return Trey Burke. Willie Herman Gomez was traded to Charlotte for Johnny O'Brien. What else? And a couple other picks there too. It's a second round pick also there in 2021. This is the big one here. The 3-team trade. That was just a bunch of second round picks and stuff. That's the one that we traded Dove McDermott. We didn't really get nothing back for that. Emmanuel Mudiay went to the Knicks. There's a pick here that says that it became Shake Milton. Devin Harris was in there. That's like a B trade kind of. A couple other things here. They fired Jeff Hornacek. They tried Troy Williams. I remember Troy Williams. David Fizdale was hired. These are all make good stuff, but a lot of that has Steve Mills stink on it. The David Fizdale thing. Scott Perry was with it too, though. Scott Perry was definitely down with Fizdale. I was too. I thought Fizdale was gonna be good, man. He was always in the back behind Pat Riley and behind Spoelstra. You would think that he would and actually he was in Memphis, and he did decent in Memphis, so you thought that he was a coach on the rise too. So that was a good hire. In hindsight, hindsight now, I hope David Fizdale gets another job somewhere. He probably will, but he's an assistant coach with the Lakers now. But a head coaching job, I'm not sure about that. But I mean, they gave him a shot. We selected Kevin Knox, which at the present moment right now, Kevin Knox is a draft bust. But Mitchell Robinson in the second round, so you draft one guy bad and you do good with the other guy in the second round. Mitchell Robinson could have been the first round pick, and Kevin Knox, if he was the second round pick, nobody would care, right? So that's actually pretty good. There goes Isaiah Hicks again with that second 2-way contract. Alonzo Trier was a nice pickup because he was a guy that actually had a good college career, but he got in trouble with the performance enhancing drugs. So he actually was a big pickup. And it was looking like he was going to be a player, but right now he's not even in the league anymore. So maybe those performance-enhancing drugs was something that he actually needed to play well. Even though I seen him in high school and stuff, he was decent, but he just couldn't make it in the NBA. There goes Hozona. That was Scott Perry right there all the way. Luke Cornett is another guy. Luke Cornett has Steve Mills stink on it, because that's like the 3-point shooting big man and stuff. Just anybody. Luke Cornett, maybe it could be Scott Perry too. That was a deep deep cut right there. Well, it wasn't a draft thing. I think it was a post draft signing where the guys are undrafted. Noah Vonleh was another reach. He was a former first round pick. That basically was the whole notion during this era here. Hozona was a former first round pick. Vonleh is a former first round pick. I believe they were in the same draft. Kadeem Allen was a decent pickup. I feel like he was probably our best point guard during this whole time here. John Jenkins, he went on to be like the MVP of the USA Americas tournament. With the one that Jeff Van Gundy was coaching. He actually was their most valuable player there, and helped lead them to win that tournament, the tournament for America. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't talk about that, but John Jenkins was definitely somebody that's worth talking about. Billy Garrett. He has a lot of mystique around his name, but he's nowhere to be found either right now. Kadeem Allen is also nowhere to be found. Let's expedite this a little bit. Henry Ellison is a journeyman 10-day contract guy. There goes Billy Garrett again. All right, we can just fast forward now to what's going on here. Iggy Brazikas, he did earn that multi-year contract. But he eventually got traded. So there's that. Julius Randle, sleeper pick. Taj Gibson, another sleeper. Bobby Portis just became an NBA champion. Wayne Ellington is probably not going to be in the NBA anymore. I don't even think he played much last year. I can't really see him playing too much. Alfred Payton is another one that might not be in the NBA anymore. But it was worth a try. Well, Wayne Ellington was basically situational. 3-point shooter. What's the name? The stupid ass coach that we got was trying to use him like Reggie Miller. So that's the reason why he got fired. Marcus Morris, Reggie Bullock, a couple other guys too, and then Kenny Wooten. Everybody was screaming about Kenny Wooten. We need to sign him, keep him, and this, that, and the other. He's another guy that won't be in the NBA after a while. So anyway, I mean that's just a rough throwing out whatever that Scott Perry did, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing that we brought him here because from everything that I posted that I showed you just now, it wasn't nothing bad. If anything, we held on to all of our assets. He's not looking to trade a whole bunch of stuff, so it keeps with the same format that Leon Rose has been doing. Leon Rose is not throwing away draft picks, and we're not signing guys to all these crazy contracts. So this is going to be like a part of what we're going to do. So now looking forward into free agency. After I went through all of that long drawn out stuff about Scott Layden's, I said Scott Layden, Lord have mercy. Scott Perry's career. Chances are for the Knicks actually doing anything is going to be slim to none. We have a lot of holes that are open. More than likely, we're going to sign the people that are going to fill those spots. So, as I said in the podcast before, every year we always get better by pulling up from different free agency pools. You want to talk about Moody Eye and some of the guys that we had during that time frame. And then we got upgraded to Reggie Bullock and the Alec Burks and stuff like that. Now, maybe this offseason we might get upgraded to the next pool. Kelly Oubre is a guy that nobody likes. Because he just seems like a very arrogant kid that might just be more into his brand, So I'm gonna do a separate podcast about him soon, but we might actually just get him, somebody like him, maybe sign Victor Oladipo because he has ties to Scott Perry, and then maybe some other small little moves to boost us up a little bit. That's not really gonna mess up what the Knicks are trying to do in the future. So that's something to think about, man. Because I really can't see the Knicks doing like a crazy splash where we're throwing away all these assets. But then again, you get the assets to use, and Tom Thibodeau's always been talking about, we need to use the stuff to get better. You know what I'm saying? So because his timetable is low too. Scott Perry's 57, like I said. Tom Thibodeau's in his 60s. So these guys are not young anymore, man. So they're gonna want to try to get better while they're still alive. You know what I'm saying? Before they, I'm just joking around, but I mean, these guys would like to compete, with a real team, man. So just try not to let the media get to you with all the expectations and stuff, and just continue to be great Knicks fans, man. So this is the end of the podcast. Just want to give you guys a little insight on Scott Perry's career, and just think about from what's been happening in his past as a GM. Just think about Leon Rose's history with certain players around the league, and just think about the whole climate of the whole free agency with agents and GMs and stuff like that. Just think about all that, put it together, and somewhere in between there is going to be the truth, man. So anyway, it's your boy Eru. I see guys in the chat, man, but for some reason my chat is like frozen here. But I can see everybody here. Everybody's here, man. I see Knicks communities here. Greenhouse. God, so funny, man. What else? Garden of Knicks podcast is here. What's up? What else is here? Big Task. There's a few guys here. Big Task is going crazy here. Greenhouse. Yeah, I'm just scrolling through here. Like I said, I got the chat got frozen at a certain point. So I appreciate you guys, man. So anyway, I'll catch you guys on the next one. You might see me tonight again, man. I might have another idea for a podcast. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. It's your boy Eru. See you guys later. Peace.